Tūmai koutou ki waine nui I tēnei hui huinga a mātou. Kei tohu hei arahina mai a mātou ringi tāra o te tika me te pono. Ko koutou tonu tērā, te omeka, te are pātutunitanga, te hapu o tinga, ka whai korori e ki tō koutou ingoa. A te matua tama wairua taputanga, te māngai mea koutou anehera pono e tautoko mai, aia nei ake nei. Āmen. Te he wāmari ora ki te whai au ki te ao marama. Ko te tūtainga wākato ki a tukuna ngā haka moimiti, ngā haka whētai, te tukuna rawa. Moana tini mana ki tanga katoa, ko hari ki hia, ki rungi a tātou. Mai te tīmatatanga o tēnei kaupapa kaino te haro o tēnei ata. Nā reira, kia whai kuroria, ki tōne ingoa tatu ngā wā. Tuarua māku, ka hikai ngā ahi o Maumahara, kia rātau o Whetūrangiti. Ka heke ngā roimata o tērā o ngā tani whamā kohanui, kei roto I a rongo whakata, ka tahi hoki ana ki kōpū te whenua, a ko Lewis Moi au tea. Me ngā tini mate ki wainganui a koutou, tēnei te tangi, tēnei te mihi, auwe. Nā reira rātou katoa I te wahi ngaro ki a rātou, a tātou ngā waihotanga. E ngā mama, e ngā iwi, e ngā reo, nau mai, piki mai, kake mai, haere mai. Hara mai ki runga, te waite mata. Hara mai ki runga, te rai o ka wharu. Hara mai ki runga, I a tumutumu whenua. Hara mai ki ngā te whātua, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. He nui ngā kaupapa o te rā, nā reira, ko te tūmanako, ka pai ngā te pūrongo o te tau, ka kitea ngā hua kei roto, mō koutou, ngā kai o honga, koutou e whiwhi hua I tēnei tau ki te kore, kia kaha tonu, ka mihi ki te puari, ka mihi ki ngā rangatira, kia whakaputongia te kakau o tēnei paipa, kei hoha katoa koutou I take kore o hoi ato. Kei konei a ngāti whātua o rā, kei mihi nei te koutou, tēnā koutou, te wai.
Hea o te hau, hea o te hau. nā tu e te kotu ko ia te pau hakaero ka tu ki wai te matai o ko wairangi e koki.
A tērā kōrero e wai hotia mai e ngā mātua e ngā tupuna. Āpiti hono tātai hono, rātai te hono wairoi ki rātai. Āpiti hono tātai hono, a tātai ngā waihotanga, ngā mōrehu o ngā mātua tupuna ki a tātai. Kei aku amorangi, a kei taku amo kapua, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou. Kei rā.
Iona, kia ora tata. Tātou te hoi kaupene, ai tumai nei. Kia koe, kia puta ngā te whātua, karanga maira. Ka tika me mihi atu ki te moana e piatana ki te waitamata. Nā kai te raro i te whae maunga te kāparu, te mahuhu hoki. Tātou nei e noho nei, tātou nei e mahi nei. Nā reira me karanga atu, me mihi atu kia putau, no putau, mai rano, tai no ki nai nei, te mana whenua te wāhi nei. Kea putau, mai rano, te mana moana o te wāhi nei. Hākua te koro o e tai o rata kero te pari mia. Kaya putau hoki, te mana atua. Teke mai ngā atua, tai no kia putau, e taki nei te umoko te whenua. Nā reira, tēnā putau e mauna, tēnā huata. Tēnā hoki nei putau, hara mai ki te karanga mai ki te amata. Ka tikara me tangi atu te rātou ko hai. Koe no e hari te mea he me hanoa, e ngari me mihi atu ki rātou, me mahi hoki tātou kia ea. Kia tutuki ai o rātou nā wera. Nā reira ko tērā o tātou te rongo pakāta, koe no harai te mea tana haere te haere moke, ia tātou katoa. Me tātou e hui nei, o tātou me tako etu ngā mahara ki a rātou. Ka kani tēnā te wāhi ia, hoa te whaka utu atu. Koe nā tēnā pēr ko te tūmanako, ka kite atu he hua. Me he mea he hua kai roku te kete, kāre rane, ko te mahi ona ki a puta atu kia māra, ko te take kia māra matu kia rata mātawa te kamute. Mātau ki e ngā kai koe, o rata waka tuaka. Koe no ngā, tēnā pura, tēnā puta, tēnā tātou katoa. So just while we're assembling our response by song, stay here. That's right. Okay. Just a brief explanation. We've been welcomed by our hosts, Ngāti Whātua, and welcomed all of us. Also paying respect to our loved ones who passed on, and in their memories, we do pay tribute, and also to our hosts and all of you for coming and bringing such a wonderful Auckland Day. We look forward to hearing all the good things in the reports. That's what they are.
Noku he ke rangi, he kaupapa, whakaheke ie. Kia tātou e, kia tātou e. Tētere waka mama kia tīna. Tīna. Puie tai pie.
Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Nā mai haere mai kai tēnei hui. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this gathering. I'm Ralph Norris, your chairman, and on behalf of the board, I welcome all of you to Contact's annual shareholder meeting. This meeting is also being webcast, and I'd like to extend a warm welcome to those who are watching online. For those guests who are here in person, in the unlikely event of an emergency, if the fire alarm sounds, please follow the instructions of the ushers out the nearest exit and assemble in the front of the ANZ Viaducts Event Centre in Karanga Plaza, which is out there. If you require first aid assistance, please see one of the venue staff in the first instance. As a quorum is present and due notice of this meeting has been given, I declare the meeting duly constituted and open for business. I'd like to introduce the others with me here on the stage. To my immediate left is our Chief Executive, Dennis Barnes. Next to Dennis is Vic Crone. Next to Vic is Whaimatu Jews. And beside him is Sue Sheldon. Then on my immediate right, our General Counsel, Catherine Thompson. Next to Catherine is Rob McDonald. And next to Rob is Eleanor Trout. Other members of Contact's senior leadership team are also here today, down in the front, as well as representatives from our auditors, KPMG. Today's meeting will commence with addresses from me as chairman and from the Chief Executive, Dennis Barnes. Following this, we will consider the financial statements, and there will be an opportunity for shareholders to ask questions that they may have on the financial accounts. Then we will move on to the resolutions that are outlined in the notice of meeting. We have 3 resolutions to put to the meeting today, and these resolutions will be decided by taking a poll. There will be an opportunity for shareholders to ask questions relating to these resolutions and to raise any additional matters that shareholders wish to discuss. So it is great to see you all here today and for us all to have the opportunity to talk to you about Contact's performance for the year and our focus for the future. Living our tikanga is all about delivering value to our broad range of stakeholders. Our challenge is to deliver competitively priced products and services to customers that they value, ensuring we have the right amount of safe and reliable energy supply, while managing our business in an environmentally and financially sustainable way. I have a strong belief that success in any organisation starts with striving for best-in-class engagement to build strong relationships with customers, employees, and stakeholders. To deliver on this goal, diversity within an organisation is crucial. It's about ensuring your organisation is reflective of the society in which it operates. True diversity leads to better ideas, problem solving, and ultimately performance. Diversity of ideas, thoughts, backgrounds, gender, and ethnicity is hugely important to the board, and we encourage other New Zealand listed companies to take steps to embrace this more actively. Contact's board has equal gender representation, and this month Contact was named number 1 out of 6,000 internationally publicly listed companies in the Thomson Reuters Diversity and Inclusion Index. This year we implemented our diversity and inclusion policy, which sets out our intentions as a company and introduced even greater transparency in our public reporting of diversity measures, and details are in our recent annual report. We have two distinct businesses with different strategic drivers that are in different phases. Our generation business continues to be about the efficient production of electricity and managing wholesale market risk. As market conditions do not require us to build any new plant in the short term, the team's focus is on continuous improvement and looking at opportunities for innovation in order to get even better at what we do. This will help to further reduce the cost of energy and extend the life of our generation assets. Our customer business is about solving problems for customers within a fast-paced environment. This requires us to leverage new technology and be more agile in delivering best-in-class customer experience. Your board has spent some time this year reviewing the strategic direction of Contact and ensuring that we were creating and growing value for shareholders. The board engaged deeply with management and external experts and remained comfortable that our company is on the right path. This was a hugely important exercise for the board and gave us confidence in revising the distribution policy, which I will come to later. Last year, I talked to you about Contact proving it can be a great retailer and continue to leverage its generation business for the benefit of shareholders. And shortly, Dennis will talk about the great progress he and the team have made during the year in these areas. In the 2017 financial year, EBITDA was $494 million, down $29 million as a result of unfavourable hydrology. And what that means is we didn't get enough rainfall in the areas where our major hydro facilities operate. And so that meant that we had to use higher cost fuel to fuel our energy generation. Our statutory profit was $150 million, up from a $66 million statutory loss reported last year, which contained impairments. Our operating free cash flow was $300 million, down 15%. We've delivered a dividend of 26 cents per share, totaling $186 million, which is consistent with last year, while also reducing debt by $106 million. We've also changed our distribution policy to target an average ordinary dividend of between 80 to 90% of operating free cash flow, once our key debt metric is achieved. In the 2018 financial year, we are targeting an ordinary dividend of 32 cents per share, a 23% increase on this year, FY17, while continuing to reduce our debt so that our net debt to EBITDA ratio falls to 2.8 times. This will then trigger a board reassessment of the ordinary dividend for the following year. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you all for your ongoing support of Contact, the board and the leadership team. Later on, you will hear from Victoria Crone and Rob McDonald, who retire from the board by rotation and are standing for re-election. But now I will hand over to Dennis for an overview of the year. Dennis. Thank you, Dennis.
Thanks, David. Tēnā koutou katoa, ki ngā iwi o Tamaki Makaro, anai te mihi. No mai, tēnā koutou katoa. Greetings to the tribes of Auckland, I acknowledge you. Welcome and greetings. My name is Dennis Barnes, your CEO. I'd like to introduce you to some of my leadership team who are here with us today. Venna, Catherine, Graham and Tanya. James is currently away undertaking some professional development and won't be with us today. But even without James, at the end of the day, I hope you will spend some time with me and my team. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Contact and would be happy to answer any questions you have. Venna and his team would be happy to assist you with any questions you may have about our products, or if you'd like to join Contact as a customer. We'd love to have you on board. Every day across the country, New Zealanders rely on energy to do the things that they care about as they live, work and play. This year, we've made great improvements to our leading performance indicators, and that's been as a result of our operational focus. We've maintained financial discipline, enhanced our customer experience, improved employee engagement, and advanced our safety culture. We see the world through the eyes of our customers, our people, and communities, operating in a sustainable way that considers the needs of future generations. Naturally, interactions with customers, investors, employees, and other stakeholders play a key part in influencing our focus on what matters most to our company. We've provided an overview of our performance across 4 areas in our annual report. And these are delivering on our core business, our people, the environment, and the communities in which we operate. And I'll go on to provide progress on each of those key areas. Firstly, delivering on our core business. In our customer business, everything we do is about striving to deliver a world-class customer experience. During the year, we introduced a new website, digital experience, and launched new rewards through our partnership with AA Smart Fuel. The changes have made it easier for customers to join us and transact online, and it's reduced the time required to complete the most common activities as a customer. Over 50,000 of our customers are now receiving AA Smart Fuel rewards, and in the last few months of the financial year, collectively they saved over $500,000. Through technology trials we kicked off during the year, we're working with customers across the country to truly understand the opportunities for customers in pairing solar energy, battery storage, smart hot water control technology with app-based real-time control. When doing this, we take a customer-inspired approach, and we're always looking for ways to improve what we do. We use a customer panel to help us develop new product and service ideas and harness that feedback to identify key areas where we can make changes to improve our customer experience. We track the progress of this using a customer advocacy measure called Net Promoter Score. This measures the degree to which customers are willing to promote us to their friends and family. And during the year, we saw another strong improvement in Net Promoter Score, with our score up 17 points to plus 14. Across all our customer base, electricity, natural gas, and LPG, we saw an overall rise in customer numbers, up 4,500 to 567,000. And that's despite an average of 30,000 customers in the market switching electricity suppliers each month. More of our customers are choosing to stay with Contact, and we now have a lower level of switching than the market. In our generation business, the chairman mentioned that we saw a sudden and significant swing in hydrology, with above hydro storage at the beginning of the financial year giving way to record low inflows into our key South Island lakes, culminating in what we would call a dry winter. This restricted the amount of electricity we could generate from our hydro stations, and it required us to run our more expensive gas-fired stations in Taranaki. The situation clearly illustrated the value of a diverse generation portfolio. It's powered by a range of fuels, and they ensure flexibility and security of supply for our customers. Despite this dry winter, we still managed to generate 80% of our electricity from renewable sources over the year. But as I've mentioned, we did have higher fuel costs. But at the same time, the generation team continued to focus on continuous improvement, which drove further efficiencies across all of our renewable assets, increased the flexibility of our thermal assets, and increased the availability and reliability of all of our plant. But now, turning our attention to people. An external audit in the year highlighted the continued improvement of our safety culture. Our continued focus on empowering frontline workers on safety also saw our health and safety performance improve. Unfortunately, 10 of our people were still hurt during the year, but thankfully most of those injuries were less severe strains and sprains. We've a very strong focus on people engagement, and we want a workplace that embraces diversity. We're targeting employee engagement of 82% or higher. This is what's referred to as the Aon Hewitt Best Employer level. And this year we took another big step towards our target with a 12 percentage point increase to take Contact's overall engagement score to 68%. Our chairman has already touched on the importance we place on diversity in all its forms, as well as several of our areas for focus for the year. To add to his points, we have also been working on achieving pay equity between males and females for roles undertook in the same salary band. While we've still got work to do, we currently have a pay equity ratio of 98%. Now, if I turn to the environment, our efforts in the year have included planting 14,000 native trees across our sites and creating a water dashboard that makes it easier to monitor our water use across our operations, which supports our sustainable management of freshwater resources. 99% of the water used to generate electricity is returned to rivers and geothermal reservoirs. Our overall emissions from electricity generation are down 53% since 2012, as a result of the closure of the Otahuhu gas-fired power station, and nearly 80% reduction in the amount of gas we buy, as well as significant investments in renewable geothermal generation. Last week, I publicly called for New Zealand to move past debates on the technicalities and act on this climate change challenge. As a country, I firmly believe there's a real opportunity for us to innovate, to work together, and to do more to tackle climate change. And we're really keen to play a key role in that. Hope won't deliver us a low-carbon economy, but a plan that ensures government agencies and businesses can work together on how to achieve those targets would be a great step. I believe having a truly market-priced emissions trading scheme covering all sectors, all gases, and with the removal of existing caps and transition periods will help spur that transition to a lower carbon economy. There are great opportunities in the areas of transport, agricultural processing, and manufacturing. And we're actively working with our energy-intensive business customers to help them identify opportunities to transition to flexible, efficient, low-carbon energy solutions. And we welcome conversations with other organisations who are keen to be involved in this. And as you know, Contact is a strong supporter in its own business of electric vehicles and initiatives which will drive their use in New Zealand. Already 25% of our fleet is electric, and we will be at 30% in the very near future. You may have also seen that our efforts have been recognised through a market-leading green borrowing programme, which allows investors for the first time ever to have the opportunity to invest in certified green debt instruments issued by a New Zealand company. We've received hugely positive feedback on this move from both investors here and overseas. Now, in local communities, we invested over $360,000 in local initiatives and in sponsorships such as the recent Contact Alexandra Blossom Festival, Contact Swimwell Taupo, and the Contact Epic Mountain Race. Over 5,000 people attended our community open day at the Clyde Power Station. And our employees are involved in supporting community organisations through our volunteering programme and collectively provided close to 1,800 hours of support this year. So in summary, we will continue our strategy to connect customers and markets to renewable resources. The start to the new financial year has been positive on all of our operational measures. However, we didn't see a return to the more normal hydrological conditions until mid-August. For the coming year, I expect we'll be able to evidence further progress across all these areas of focus. We will continue giving customers choice, certainty and control, at the same time reducing our costs as we focus on digital transformation by leveraging our systems and capability investments. This will put us in a strong position to deliver on the revised distribution policy that we announced in August and was referenced by the Chairman. Finally, I'd like to thank all of my colleagues for their energy, commitment and discipline, and to you, our shareholders, for your financial support. I'd also like to thank the board members for their contribution, Their guidance and support that they provide remains invaluable. Thank you. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou.
Thank you, Dennis. We'll now move to a discussion of Contact's financial statements. The financial statements of Contact for the year ended 30 June 2017 were released to the market on the 14th of August and are set out in the annual report, which is available on our website. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm now opening the floor up for discussion on the financial statements. We have some microphones available. If you wish to speak, please put your hand up and wait for the microphone to be brought to you so that we can all hear your question. So, ladies and gentlemen, over to you. Are there any questions on the financial statements? Well, if there are no questions, we'll move on to the formal resolutions for the meeting. These are outlined in the notice of meeting sent to all shareholders in September. Voting on the resolutions will be by poll. Each resolution will be put to the meeting with proxy voting results displayed on the screens. Each resolution set out in the notice of meeting is to be considered as an ordinary resolution and as such must be approved by a simple majority of the votes cast by shareholders entitled to vote and voting on the resolutions. It is now my pleasure to move that Victoria Crone be re-elected as a Director of Contact. Victoria joined the Contact Board in November 2015, and this is the first time she has stood for re-election. A brief biography of Vic is set out in the notice of meeting. The Board unanimously recommends that shareholders vote in favour of the re-election of Victoria Crone. I'd now like to invite Vic to speak before we move on to discussion on the resolution. Vic.
Kia ora tātou, Ngāti Whātua, Auraki, tēnā kātou. It's a privilege to stand for re-election to the Contact Energy Board. There's been a lot of change over the last decade, but what we've seen is nothing compared to what we're about to experience. Every 18 months, we see the doubling of computing power, we see the halving of the costs of storage. By 2020, there'll be 5 billion people and trillions of devices and sensors connected around the world globally. If you have a grandchild born today, the average age of your grandchild will be 100 years. It's no wonder that it bends our minds a little bit to understand what level of disruption this is going to cause and the opportunities and new technologies that will bring for us. No industry will be left untouched, let alone ours. Technology in the form of batteries, solar, electric vehicles, driverless vehicles, big data, automation of our workforce, robotics and integrated home management systems will all play an increasing role in our customers' lives in the future. And it's really important that Contact Energy stays relevant to that. I bring expertise from over 2 decades of experience in the tech and innovation sector, currently CEO of Callaghan Innovation, previously Managing Director of Xero in New Zealand and 180 countries around the world, and I've also been on the boards of a number of tech companies seeking local and global success. I've worked across both retail, wholesale, across government, consumer and corporate. I would relish the opportunity to continue to apply that experience to Contact Energy, to champion the opportunities that disruption will bring our products and services, our company, our business model, and the need to lead our organisation and our industry through unprecedented change. Thank you for this opportunity. I look forward to speaking to you after. Kia kaha, kia maia, kia manawa nui.
Thank you, Vic. I now invite discussion on the resolution. Are there any questions that shareholders would like to ask Victoria? Sir, over here. We'll get a microphone to you.
I was just wondering, what's an example of your digital vision influencing the digital transformation that is occurring at Contact Energy?
Yes, so there's a couple. Is this on? Oh, great. There's a couple of aspects to that. The first is the products and services that we'll be offering customers. So we need to participate as part of a platform of services into the home. So we'll be partnering with a range of new organisations across that, and Vena can talk to more detail on that and has a fabulous vision to support that. The second aspect is within our own organisation, using big data analytics and a lot of the tools that are coming through in terms of automating the work that we do, which means it will have flow-on impacts into the rigour of decisions we make and things like our maintenance budgets and things like that. So actually digital is going to affect everything from our products and services, our organisation, our IT stack, the whole lot. And so we're having some really good conversations around the board table and with management to make sure that we have to be on the front foot of that.
Thank you, Vic. Any further questions? For the information of shareholders, here are the proxy votes received. Ladies and gentlemen, the poll on Resolution 1 will be conducted at the end of the formal business. It's now my pleasure to move that Rob McDonald be re-elected as a Director of Contact Energy. Rob also joined the board in 2015 and is standing for re-election for the first time. A brief biography for Rob is set out in the notice of meeting. The board unanimously recommends that shareholders vote in favour of the re-election of Rob McDonald. I'd now like to invite Rob to speak before we move on to discussion on the resolution. Rob.
Thank you, Ralph. Kia ora. Ena mana, ena reho, ena rau rangatira tēnā koutou katoa. Good morning, my name is Rob McDonald and it's a privilege to stand for re-election to the Contact Board. Contact lives in a fiercely competitive marketplace and customer expectations to continue to change both in New Zealand but also overseas. And certainly Vic has touched on the sort of digital world that we will be getting more and more into in the future. It is important Contact evolves and innovates to win new and retain existing customers. I've spent the vast majority of my career in highly competitive industries where delivering customer value and changing business models to deliver shareholder value have gone hand in hand. I have hands-on experience in developing new business models and customer experiences that involve embracing new technology. I thoroughly enjoyed my time as a director. I bring several capabilities, particularly in financial management, that will support the company in the future challenges it will face. I'm proud to be associated with Contact Energy, which has sustainability, diversity, and health and safety credentials second to none in New Zealand. I would be delighted to continue that association as a member of the Contact Board with your support. Thank you. Matiwa.
Thanks, Rob. I now invite discussion on the resolution. Are there any questions that shareholders would like to ask Rob McDonald? Down here in the centre, microphone there, thank you. Sir.
Noel Thompson, shareholder.
If you could stand up, that'd be great, thank you.
Noel Thompson, shareholder. Rob, I noticed in your resume that you're still involved in New Zealand. I was just wondering how you could fit that in with your responsibilities to the Contact Energy Board.
Yes.
Press that.
So it clearly is not without some effort to make sure I'm thoroughly prepared, and I'd hope that my fellow directors would attest that I fully participate in that. But if there's any future concerns, you'll be pleased to know that I'll be leaving Air New Zealand at the end of this year to pursue non-executive roles.
I'd just like to echo the fact that Rob has participated fully as a director of Contact in the 2 years, or nearly 2 years, that he has been on the board, and has always been very well prepared for all of the work that is involved with the board and also the audit committee that Rob is a member of. So I've had no issues in that regard. He's made the appropriate time allocation, and as he said, he's retiring from Air New Zealand at the end of the year. So, for the information of shareholders, here on this screen are the proxy votes received. Ladies and gentlemen, the poll on Resolution 2 will be conducted also at the end of the formal business. The final resolution to be considered relates to the auditor. I now move that the directors be authorised to fix the fees and expenses of the auditor, KPMG, is Contact's auditor. This resolution proposes that the board be authorised to fix the remuneration of the auditor. This is the conventional practice for New Zealand listed companies. It reflects the fact that the level of auditor workload and therefore fee may need to change from time to time to take account of changes in a company's size or complexity or changes in the law. KPMG audit partners are present at the meeting should shareholders have any questions of them concerning this resolution. I now invite discussion on the resolution. There being no questions, for the information of shareholders, here are the proxy votes received. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now conduct the poll of the formal resolutions. You should all have your voting papers which were given to you when you registered on arrival. Please now cast your vote by ticking for, against, or abstain in the appropriate box on the voting paper for each resolution. If you have any questions as to how to complete your form, please raise your hand and someone will assist you. Has anybody not had their voting forms collected? Okay. The votes will now be counted and the outcome of the poll will be announced to the NZX and ASX this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move to the final opportunity to discuss any other business not already considered at this meeting. We've received some questions from shareholders in advance of the meeting. The first of these questions is, when will you have more women as directors and executives in the company? I think, as you can see, Contact's board comprises 50% women, and women make up 1/3 of our senior leadership team, which makes us one of the most gender diverse among New Zealand's listed companies. And as I've said previously, we strongly believe that having diverse people and an inclusive culture leads to diversity of thought, fosters better decision making, and drives improved business performance. We're continually taking positive steps to become a more diverse and inclusive business. Our Chief Executive, Dennis Barnes, is part of the Global Women Champions for Change group and this year we have elected to be part of an initiative to provide greater transparency through more detailed diversity reporting. This year we have also adopted a new diversity and inclusion policy, and under that policy our diversity goals will be a key consideration in recruitment and succession planning. The second question is, when are you going to give shareholders an extra discount on power bills? We prefer to reward our shareholders with distributions rather than special benefits or discounts, which ensures all shareholders are treated equally. The next question relates to concerns at the way in which Contact's contractors go about installing electricity smart meters at customer premises. In accordance with our terms and conditions, we may replace a customer's electricity meter with a smart meter or install a remote meter reading device onto an existing meter. More than 80% of our mass market customers now have electricity smart meters. Unlike legacy meters, these remotely controllable devices allow us to bill our customers for the amount of electricity they actually use. This has resulted in a sharp decline in our billing-related complaints. The next question is, given future dividends are unlikely to be fully imputed, has consideration been given to publishing the imputed credit balance at result time? Contact does publish the imputation credit balance as at the date of dividend declaration, annually in the notes to the financial statements. We will investigate whether adding this information to the interim financial statements will provide investors with additional transparency, which will assist shareholders in the evaluation of the value of their Contact shares. The final question we have received relates to any feedback that the board has received from shareholders regarding the performance of the board and its chairman. The question in essence is asking the board, have we received any feedback from major or minority shareholders of Contact regarding the performance of the board and our chairman? The board and management have systems in place to ensure that we seek out the views of our shareholders through a well-designed and implemented investor relations program. Through this process, we receive all sorts of feedback. However, we've not received any feedback that would suggest any lack of support for our chairman or the board. We believe that good corporate governance is vital to the protection of the interests of investors and creates and enhances value over the short and long term. To this end, the board has adopted corporate policies and procedures that reflect best practice, and we follow the principles and recommendations of the NZX Corporate Governance Code. This includes ensuring that all shareholders have the right to vote on the composition of the board. Today, you have participated in the director re-election process required under the Constitution, which means each director is up for re-election at least every 3 years. You have seen very strong support for both Vic and Rob from our shareholders. As at 30 June 2017, the average length of service of our directors was approximately 3.5 years. The final point I would like to make is that to ensure an effective board, there should be a mix of independence, skills, knowledge, experience, and perspectives. The board has developed a skills matrix which sets out the skills that the board believes are necessary for Contact. And bear in mind that 2 years ago, the board had the unusual opportunity to undertake this process in the provision of a new board. This year, the board commissioned an independent assessment of the board and committee performance. This review confirmed the strength of Contact's governance. The next, are there any, being that there is no further official business, I'd like to just ask before I do close the meeting if there are any other questions that anybody would like to ask from the floor. Sir. Down here on the... Oh, sorry.
My name is Haley Cheng. I'm a shareholder of Contact Energy. Regarding the casualties of the company, you have just mentioned there are about 10 of them. I think it's a little bit high, and I wish to reduce the number because like Opus International, that is an infrastructure company which is also listed in the New Zealand Stock Exchange. I'm a shareholder of it, and it only had one, sometimes new for the whole year. And what should I say? I'm suggesting one of the ways to reduce the casualty is to use the IKE GPS product. It is also a company listed in the New Zealand Stock Exchange market. And its products are being used in USA for General Electric or Minnesota Power. And I think the product really can reduce the casualty because the staff do not need to climb up the pole to have measurement. He or she can do the measurements on the ground first. And it is a very good product and not expensive. And it is also, the measurement tool is connected to, internet data, that sort of thing. So think of it, support the New Zealand Stock Exchange market as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jing, for your observations in regard to our safety performance. There's no doubt that we as an organisation are very committed to making sure that all of our staff go home harm-free every day. And I have to say that of the 10 incidents that we had during the last year, 9 of those were minor sprains and strains and were not of a serious nature, but still every sprain or strain is something that we take seriously and obviously undertake a review as to why this particular injury has occurred and make sure that we update or upgrade our processes where there is a deficiency in order that that doesn't occur again. In regard to Ike GPS, I have to declare a conflict. I'm a shareholder of Ike GPS as well, so I'm well aware of the product. So thank you for that observation. Sir, you down here in the front? Just here? Microphone, yes. Oh, sorry, sir. It's a little, with the light behind you, it's hard to actually see clearly from up here. Sir, your question.
Thank you. My name is Peter Mooseberger. I'm a shareholder. Is the board aware of the Consumer Hall of Shame score of 2 that Contact scored in July this year?
We are aware of the fact that we have had the rating was not where we would like it. I'd have to say that it's interesting to note that in the last quarter, as far as complaints are concerned that have had to go to dispute, we've seen a significant reduction to the fact that I think the number is only 1, and that's a reduction from what were double-digit numbers in the past. So the information that you are relying upon is somewhat historical, but I have to say that the board and management has been very focused on making sure that the issues that relate around our customer service levels and our treatment of customers has been something that has been of priority. And I think it's fair to say that the number of complaints that have gone to the tribunal in the last quarter is an indicative, I think, of the fact that we are making significant progress in that regard. But certainly it's not something that we obviously are very proud of to have been rated in the way we have been rated in the past, and your board has been obviously very concerned about that.
Contact scored 2 comments. Hall of Shame, the most egregious examples of PowerCos with customers reporting repeated issues over the past year. This is in July, so...
That would have been in the year previous, so I don't know what...
July 2017, that's this year.
Correct. Yes, but I don't know what the collection period was prior to that announcement.
Okay, can you explain, can you tell us what the two issues were and what has been done to address them?
I'll pass on to Dennis to answer those questions. Question.
Good morning, Peter. I mean, the Consumer New Zealand survey you're referring to collects the number of reported incidents, but it doesn't then go on to the ones which have reached a deadlock, as the utilities dispute company calls them, where we are a very high performer. So as a proportion of our market share, we're actually one of, or the best performer in the utilities dispute scheme. On the two incidents that you're referring to, I don't have the details with me right now, but Venner and Brian are here and will happily talk to you immediately after the meeting.
Could they address the meeting now? It'd be nice to know just what's being done about the two issues.
I mean, I suspect Brian wouldn't remember the two issues. We deal with, 1 million calls a year and 12
I can tell you the two issues because I've got the copy right here. Helping customers select a plan appropriate for your usage. 1 in 6 customers was unhappy about that.
Yeah, so in late June on that one, we did revise the design of our website, which makes it easier for customers to pick the right plan for themselves. Also, some customers do reference the Consumer New Zealand Power Switch site, which is actually a bit clunky and it's quite difficult to choose your plan, which is why what we've done about that one is actually change the design of our website. So from the last week of June when it went live, our website is much more easier to navigate to choose the right plan for your conditions.
Okay, the other issue was customers suffering long wait times. 6% of customers were upset about the length of wait times. What's being done about that?
Yeah, so the two contact centres we run in Dunedin and Levin are running at much improved performance since that survey would have been conducted. So the average wait time is down tens of percents in the last few months. So that's a combination of encouraging customers to deal with their queries online, because that is actually a quicker solution for most customers. But also we've added more staff to the call centres in the last few months. So if you rang today, I suspect you would be answered very quickly.
Thank you. I'm going to be in the market shortly for a connection, so I'll give it a try.
We'll sign you up this morning. The guys are here.
Perhaps a discount?
Mr. Moosberger, thank you for that. I think I'd just like to reinforce the fact that this is something that the board has been very focused on in regard to the reputation of the organisation. And I think it's fair to say that the statistic that is the critical one for us is around dispute resolution, and the fact that we have about 15% market share of dispute resolutions going to the tribunal, against a market share which is in excess of 20%. So we are, I think, making good progress in that regard by having a percentage that is lower than our market share. So thank you. This gentleman down here on the... Just here. No, I'm just behind you.
My name's Robert Gray, shareholder. The stock exchange has changed the way in which you request annual reports. Most companies, they send out a form, it's got some number or something. It's a statutory form, and you either say I want a printed copy, or you give your email address. But you didn't do that. You told people that if you want an annual report, to go online and request one. The point is that people who want annual reports are largely people who don't have computers.
Mr. Gray, we will reassess that, okay? Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Do we have any further questions? Sir?
Yeah, soldier shareholder and a proud member of the Shareholders Association. Just in regards to that, I've got a little campaign going, but Yeah, I still get mine posted out, right?
Yes.
Now, if you go, but I understand your environmental concerns and your cost and that sort of thing. Okay, if you go to page 5,
Yes.
can you tell me what that's about, please?
Page 5.
Can you explain to me the reason for that page being in there?
Well, it's a report from the chairman giving an outline of what we're doing and as an organisation.
Yeah, but do we need that page filled up with your photograph and Barnsley's?
Oh, the one.
Yeah.
I'm looking at page 5. Yeah.
That's before page 6.
Yes.
Okay, have a look at that. I won't put you on the line now, but I just see that as unnecessary. I see it as ego massaging, you know. There are some photos in there of your power stations and that's right. But if you can slim this down, right?
I think that's a
rid of the,
very worthwhile piece of advice.
Yeah, but if we can work on that side of it, then I'll consider not getting this posted out and so on. But it's a two-way street.
Sure,
Thank you.
and I'll just say that I don't expect you to put my photograph on the wall. You may want to use it as target practice for darts, but I'll take your advice.
And I'm always looking to slim down.
Are there any further questions? Sir. Microphone is coming to you.
What is the nature of your support agreement with Meridian for the power supply to the aluminium smelter? Has there been any call on your support in the past, or how long is this agreement valid for? I think the agreement with the aluminium smelter is up for renegotiation or confirmation shortly. Is your support agreement long-term, or what? What's the nature of it?
We obviously enter into those negotiations on a term-by-term basis, but I'll ask Dennis to give you a fuller briefing on that.
So the aluminium smelter uses 572 megawatts of electricity, and we supply 80 megawatts of that 572 via a back-to-back arrangement with Meridian. That contract runs until the end of 2029. It is in a 4-year plus 4-year plus 4-year plus 2-year contract structure. So the next time we will be considering our supply to that smelter is 3 years away. There is another leg to that smelter contract where, in the event that one of our power stations fail, Meridian supply us with electricity. So it is a long-term back-to-back supply contract. And just to extend the answer to the reason for doing it is because the aluminium smelter is obviously a very good credit base load customer and is located very close to our Clyde power station.
Thank you, Dennis. Sir.
Walter Smale. I just have one question. We get our power bill every month, which is great, and now it's all automated. I wonder why we don't get the actual figures, and they'd roll it over every 2 months. We don't actually get the consumption every month.
Should be.
It will depend on your meter. If you were on a smart meter,
Well, I believe I am on a smart meter.
you should be able to see on your bill online, which you may get via an email or through your app or through online or through a printed bill if you get one. You should be able to see the monthly consumption.
Okay, well, I'll double check, but I do.
All Venner's team are nodding their head, so
Yeah.
they'll help you out afterwards.
Great, thanks. And I did have had communication with your Levin customer service, and I have to commend them. They were fantastic. So,
thank you.
Credit.
Thanks very much. Sir, over here in the middle.
Yes, Peter Taylor. Thinking about the conversion of cars to electricity, how well is New Zealand's infrastructure to cater for the peak demands of a couple of million cars all wanting to charge up, and also the distribution network?
I think, Peter, it's fair to say that as far as capacity is concerned, it will obviously, the requirement will increase over time. The view is at this stage that you're looking at something in the order of 10 to 15% of additional demand for electric vehicles. Obviously, there is a lot of work going into creating a distribution network. We're obviously at the very early stages of that, but certainly many organisations are focusing very much on that, on the issue of distribution, because it's obviously going to be a critical aspect in effectively the charging of electric vehicles. So I don't know whether, Dennis, you want to add anything additional to that?
One of the great opportunities for New Zealand with electric vehicles is if we can run the system in a smart way such that the charging of the vehicle is done outside of peak periods, then it will be done on renewable electricity. The current system, if you look at a cold winter's day in August and it's dark and it's 5 p.m, the maximum demand of the system is something like double the average demand of the system. So there is quite a lot of flexibility in the system. I just encourage you not to charge your car at 5 o'clock in the evening. And part of the trials we're conducting this year is about how we can control all of that remotely to smart charge. So we're using existing infrastructure first.
Would a dry winter be a concern?
No, because you've still got plenty of capacity overnight. The overnight demand reduction when businesses close down and everyone's in bed is quite stark. There's a lot of latent capacity not being used overnight.
Any further questions? Okay. Well, we'd obviously like you to stay and join us for morning tea, which is fast becoming lunch. Please feel free to talk with myself and my fellow directors and members of Contact Senior Management. We'll all be wearing name badges and very much look forward to the opportunity to talk to you. So again, thank you for your attendance and continuing interest in Contact, and I wish you all a safe journey home. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.